Welcome back to Simple Sacred Home. My name is Paige, and today I wanted to take you along with me for a day of homemaking as we bake from scratch, refresh my space with decor I already have, and see if we need to revive my sourdough starter that I haven't touched in months. Recently, I was on Pinterest and found this fudgy cocoa brownie recipe. I was intrigued when I was looking at the ingredients because I realized it could be easily made into a dairy-free option, and since my husband can't have dairy, and most brownie recipes call for dairy, I knew I wanted to give this one a try. I also had almost all of the ingredients already on hand, so if you are somebody who has very basic baking staples in your pantry, you might be able to make this recipe right now without even needing to pick up anything at the grocery store. All you're going to need is 3/4 a cup of unsalted butter. I ended up using a dairy-free margarine option. You could also replace it for coconut oil if you wanted to swap out the butter. You're also going to need 1 1/3 cup of sugar, 3/4 a cup of Dutch processed unsweetened cocoa powder. That was the one thing that I didn't have, so I needed to grab that before I could make these. 1 teaspoon of instant espresso powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg at room temperature, and 1 large egg yolk at room temperature. You're also going to need 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and 3/4 a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I ended up using the dairy-free chocolate chips. I think they're by Whole House has a brand. Any dairy-free chocolate chips would work. You're just going to add all of this to a medium saucepan on your stove, and it comes together really quickly. Bakes for 30 minutes in the oven after that, and these were so delicious. Highly recommend. I definitely could have pulled them out of the oven a little early because they're fudgy. The inside is a lot more moist than other recipes, so you have to just be careful that you don't over bake them, but they turned out really well. The other thing is I didn't follow the instructions to a T, and I didn't put parchment paper in, so they were a little bit hard to get out of the pan, but those are easy fixes that you can do if you were to remake it. But if you do follow the instructions perfectly like you should, then I think you're gonna really like them. I'll have the full recipe link down below if you're interested. And once again, those were the only 2 swaps that I had to make. If you didn't know, Dutch processed unsweetened cocoa powder is just cocoa, and cocoa doesn't actually have dairy in it, which is really exciting. So highly recommend giving that a try if you're looking for either just a regular brownie recipe or a dairy-free option. So fun just to make a recipe completely from scratch. So if you're somebody who's intimidated by cooking from scratch, this is a good option to start with if you're looking for a fun baking recipe to try. wanted to give my living room a small refresh. If you've been following along for a little bit, you know that I'm on a no spend year when it comes to home decor. I love antiques, I love thrifting, I love home decor, but this year I really wanted to pause all of that, take a little bit of a break, reevaluate what I own and what I love and what I don't. And so I am really trying to use what I already have in my home and get creative with how I decorate with those items. I will link the video here explaining why I've decided to stop spending on home decor, but one of the reasons was to force myself to get creative with what I already have. So I had this little shelf that I DIY'd last year. I added beadboard to the back and painted it the shade of tan, but I never knew how to style it because the shelves are super narrow. I'm pretty sure it was originally a spice rack. So the shelves are super narrow and very little fits on them. I had this hanging basket on a shelf in my bedroom where I would store chargers and whatnot, but I thought this would be a great option for dropping mail when we first walk into the house. So that is something that I notice is a pain point, that whenever we get the mail, it ends up getting thrown on like the kitchen counter or the kitchen table. And so I thought if I could put that little basket there, then we can drop the day's mail in there until we have time to open it up and read through it and sort it where it goes at that time. This also brings a little bit of depth and texture to this really white blank wall. You can also hang up your keys on here as well on these little pegs. And then I used these little gold frames that I used on my Christmas tree last year and added them to the shelves as well as this blue and white piece of china. I like the little pop of color it adds to this room that's very neutral. I also grabbed some of these little florals from another arrangement in my hallway and added in a few stems to the piece of china, and I really liked how it turned out. Eventually, I would like to replace one of these photos with an up-to-date photo with the baby, but for now, this does the trick, and I love how personalized this space feels now. I highly recommend bringing in decor from other areas or rooms in your home and swapping it around if you're feeling uninspired by your space. It's easy to think that you need to buy new things in order to feel creative or feel re-inspired, but the reality is if you just move different pieces of decor that you love from one room to the next, it will allow your decor to go a lot further than you might think. I also went ahead and added this quilt to the back of my couch for a little extra design and pattern, and added some block print floral pillows that were also in my room previously. Interested in making a sourdough discard cheesy cracker. It's supposed to be like a alternative to like a Cheez-It or Goldfish, and I have not looked at my starter since before March. So I have no idea if I'm going to be able to use it or if I'm going to have to start my starter from scratch. If I need to start my starter from scratch, I'm not looking forward to that. The last time that I went like a few months without using my starter is when I found mold in it last time. So we'll see how it looks. And I thought I would just bring you along with me to see what we're working with here. I wanted to let my starter have time to activate since it's been dormant for the last few months, so I didn't get a chance to make the crackers this day. But let me know in the comments down below if you're interested in seeing how to make the cheesy sourdough discard crackers in an upcoming video. And I can also give you my review on if they satisfy that Cheez-It or Goldfish craving. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week for another video.